Good evening. The eve of the second ODI between India and England. Of course, India won the first game by 66 runs thanks to some sterling performances, really, from Shikhar Dhawan, KL Rahul, Virat Kohli, and the two debutants, Krunal Pandya and Prasidh Krishna. Well, little bit of misfortune there for India. Shreyas Iyer's injury. Of course, you heard that update on 5 at 5 with Boria Mojumdar. But before I get to Deep Das Gupta to discuss the second game tomorrow and what could be India's combination with Shreyas's absence, here's a quick look at why you should download the House at app.
क्या आप भी किसी अपने सपने मेरे तुम्हारे टीम 11 पे टीम बना रहे हो और बच्चों के साथ खेल रहे हो? हमारे साथ खेलोगे? हाउस ऐप पे खेलो लेजेंड्स के साथ, हमें हरा और जीतो डबल कैश. Log on to houseapp.com and win real cash.
Well, do download the House at app, make your own teams and challenge the legends. But Deep, welcome to the show. It's always exciting, isn't it? The eve of any international game, any India game. It's I know it's going to be another long day, long evening for you. But this Shreyas Iyer injury, right? This guy really solved that after the World Cup. Really unfortunate. And what does it do to his psychology, knowing so that he's been playing so well, and there is stiff competition for that place in the middle order. Obviously, Suryakumar Yadav there, he's trying to make his debut, but what does it do psychologically to a cricketer with that sort of injury?
Well, to be honest, yeah, I mean, it's a really bad time. I mean, there's no good time for injuries and something that needs to be operated upon. So it's very, very unfortunate. Somebody like you who was looking in very good nick, the way he played pattern T20I. So yeah, it's a little unfortunate. I mean, see, at this level, you'll always be under pressure, whether in this case where there is competition or not, because obviously there'll always be competition. So it's unfortunate. It really is unfortunate because this will also mean that he'll be out of the IPL, major part of the IPL, if not the whole. That can't be good in this, especially this year, because you've got a World Cup T20 coming up.
Right, and Suryakumar Yadav is trying to make his ODI debut in place of Shreyas Iyer with that injury. And of course, Surya started off gloriously, right, in T20. He has two innings and two good performances. So this again, we've discussed this, but this is this is a reflection of India's bench strength. But do you think there would be any sort of movement in the middle order, or Surya just slots in at number 4, or with Virat Kohli want to go down to number 4 because Surya is coming in? No such maneuver happening, you see.
It'll be interesting to see. The other option is getting someone like Rishabh Pant in, in that same position. So I think that is also a possibility. Or KL Rahul can come and bat at number 4. Your Rishabh Pant or Surya can bat at 5 or whatever. I mean, so there are a few options. Let's put it this way: there are a few options. So let's wait and see. The team management goes in with which one.
Right, and also meanwhile, news coming in that Josh Butler will lead England for the remainder of the ODI series. Eoin Morgan has been ruled out with his hand injury, Deep. So that is also a really big setback, right? We discussed that not only Morgan's role with the bat, but his leadership, his astute leadership, and his calmness under pressure. That is going to be a massive blow for England in this context.
True. I mean, listen, we spoke about Morgan and his importance in this English side, the setup of this English side for the last few years, actually. So it's very, very important. But having said that, I think one of the other thing that we mentioned is the fact that the English side, they have a philosophy. They followed this philosophy for the last 2-3 years now under Morgan's captaincy. I would expect whoever leads, which is Josh Butler at this point in time, will follow the same leadership pattern or the same philosophy. And also the fact that if you look at the nucleus, it hasn't really changed much in the last few years, in the last couple of months. The last couple of years. So there isn't too many, as in, it's the same nucleus, same players. So they're kind of aware of, the leadership style or the philosophy of the team. But I mean, as far as leadership is concerned, yes, they will miss him, but I think they will still have, they would know what to do from that perspective. But yeah, Morgan as a batsman, definitely yes, they'll miss him.
Absolutely, and so that's two big blows for both the teams, right? Big blow each. Shreyas Iyer there, and of course Suryakumar Yadav. It's a like for like replacement, deep. Like you said, there are options. There have been options in this middle order, but thankfully, Rohit Sharma, there was a bit of an injury scare for him as well. He'll be fine. He will take the field along with Shikhar Dhawan, Virat Kohli, Suryakumar Yadav. We'll have to see where that combination leads up. But I know we'll discuss this in depth, and maybe this is not just the time to do this yet, but there's also be several heads working on the captaincy for Delhi Capitals. We'll promise to bring you a special feature of the weekend, but this is going to be another interesting topic of discussion around this country now.
Yeah, absolutely. Who takes over the captaincy as far as DC is concerned? Well, I know who I would like to be. Yeah, but we'll have to, I guess, wait and see.
Yeah. And this series, Deep, because this has been such a resounding 4 months for India. The last time India dominated England this way was in 2016-17 when they won the ODIs, T20Is, and the Test matches. They went to England, won the T20s, but lost the Tests and the ODI series. There is no better way to finish off the season, right? This international season heading into the IPL, this T20 World Cup year. So there'll be all that impetus and that motivation, like Virat keeps saying, right? That you don't need any extra motivation, and this is it. You've taken that lead and just go home and finish it.
Yeah, I mean, listen, nothing can be more motivating than playing for your country. So if somebody needs extra motivation, he should be sitting at home. He's in the wrong place then. So yeah, and like you said, every game when you cross that line, you're playing for your country or you're playing for whatever team you are. In this case, obviously it's country, so that's even more important. But end of the day, you just step on the field to win games. You're not thinking about any other option there apart from just winning the game. So and obviously, this team is getting together. They've been able to create a momentum, and you would want to carry it on. You want to win every game. You also want to carry on the momentum and going into, because this is the last international thing before the IPL, and then IPL will happen, and then you don't have too many white ball games before the World Cup. So all these games, all these white ball games will only help you to kind of get the team together, the team coming together as well. There are a few new names. And also, let's not forget, because after the IPL, hopefully everyone will be available. So this is also a great opportunity for all of them, like people like a Surya, for example, or a Shardul, or if Deepak Chahar gets a game, or someone like him, because Bumrah will be back, Shah will be available. So yeah, so this is a great opportunity for all of them.
Right, and also the Indian combination, Deep. You look at Kuldeep Yadav. Of course, a lot of bowlers went for runs in that first game. Would India be looking at an alternative? Would there be a temptation to get Chahal in? Of course, his confidence would have taken a battering as well after the T20Is.
But you know what? I would like to see at least Kuldeep for another game, because as it is, he's struggling, right? He's struggling with confidence. You can see that he hasn't played much cricket, international cricket in the last couple of years. And you can see that he's trying hard. So all I'll say is maybe should back him a bit. I know he went for a few as well in the last game. But if you have to kind of give somebody confidence, the only way that can happen is to make him play, make him bowl. Obviously, getting the right overs against the right batsman. But if you want Kuldeep back in action and back at close to his 100%, what we've seen, or better than that, then end of the day you've got to back him and make him play.
Right, and the way India have backed KL Rahul, right, despite his slump in form in T20s, and of course Shikhar Dhawan, they've asserted his place in the ODIs. If you heard quick KL Rahul's press conference, it was very interesting. He's not very expressive. He's not in the Virat Kohli mode. He's not in the Hardik Pandya mode. But he did say that, just because I'm not expressive does not mean I'm passionate, and just because I don't show the hunger does not mean I don't belong there. It was very nice and refreshing of him to come out and say that, because KL really doesn't say much. It was a good sight to behold.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, listen, I mean, if everyone who's at that level has to be competitive, because if you aren't competitive, you can't be there. If you aren't hungry, you can't be there. You know what we're talking about? We're talking about, you know, being playing for. I mean, getting the opportunity to play for India in a population of 1.3 billion. So you have to be competitive. You have to have the passion and hunger to reach anywhere close to where they are. So I think it just goes without saying, and that's a fact. I mean, there's some people who express themselves openly, and there's some who don't. That does not, in any way, people who don't express themselves, that does not in any way are anywhere less passionate or less, motivated or whatever. So it is what it is. Yeah.
Right. We also sometimes do make too much out of a personality, and we build a cult around it. I'll tell you something around KL Rahul Deep. Years ago in Mysore, India A were playing the West Indies A. Cheteshwar Pujara, he was the captain, if I remember right. He was the India A team. He scored a double century, and everybody was expecting Cheteshwar to come to the post-match press conference. Instead, KL Rahul turned up. And a lot of the journals there weren't very happy, if I may say so, because they were expecting a senior star to come. And KL hadn't yet played for the country. So, you know how it works, right? So, and I spoke to Rahul right after the game because I wanted to do a quick chat with him. I wanted to do a one-on-one, which could not materialize because of certain rules and regulations. But he's just such a gentleman to talk to, so calm. And you could just see it in his voice, right? That he's that assertive. He's quietly calm and confident. Just reminds you of this other legend from Karnataka, Rahul Dravid. So it's always good to have these blokes around in the team. They keep you calm and they keep performing and pushing.
Okay.
So,
No,
but
no.
Deep, also,
What he's saying is so true because, okay, my first actual interaction with Gale was 2015, 2014 rather. Dulip Trophy. He got 100 in each innings again, playing against, I think, North Zone played against. And you could see that he's a different class of batsman. So, I mean, very next season, obviously, was picked for India and he went and got that 100. But you could see it there in that Dulip Trophy. And I did speak to him after one of those innings. And you mentioned about that calmness and all. Yeah, it's so true.
right. It's absolutely a gem of a guy and a player. But Deep, what's the weather been in Pune like? By the way, what's the update? Has it been raining, overcast? What sort of weather are we expecting?
Yeah, I mean, it hasn't rained, to be honest. And been decently hot. I mean, I haven't stepped out of the room the whole day today. So,
No, you will. You will
yeah.
tomorrow when you go to the pitch. But when you were doing that, you've obviously been to the ground. You've seen the surface. Obviously, different surface for the game tomorrow. And did you make out anything of the pitch? Is it going to be slightly different? Because in Ahmedabad, we got to see different kinds of surfaces. What's it going to be like in Pune now?
This squad does not have that option in terms of different kinds of surfaces. So I don't see too much of a difference as far as the pitch itself is concerned. I think the basic nature of the pitch will be the same. Excuse me. Also, the fact that it hadn't, it hasn't actually rained a couple of days now. So I mean, the ground would have got enough opportunity to kind of create the kind of pitch they would want to, and curate it properly.
Right. And before we go, we cannot leave without some thoughts on Virat Kohli. Ben Stokes, there was this rather cheeky question somebody asked Ben Stokes. Would you rather like a nice Virat Kohli or a spiky Virat Kohli? Now, I tried to figure out what this word spiky means. It means someone who's easily offended or annoyed. So, what sort of Virat Kohli would England expect? And Ben Stokes said, a Virat Kohli who doesn't score too many runs. It's been that kind of a series for Virat Kohli. He's always there, right? He's animated, his body language. It's great to see that streak in him, that competitive streak in him, right through the England series, that face off with Josh Butler. You wouldn't want a very nice Virat Kohli stepping onto the field.
And listen, whatever makes him tick, to be honest. I mean, for me, I think Virat Kohli, the batsman, is way, way more important than anything else. And whatever makes him tick, I'm fine with it. As long as he does not cross the line, which he doesn't. He walks a tight line, but he does not generally cross the line. So as long as he doesn't do that, and he's motivated, or rather, that keeps him going. Absolutely, I mean, absolutely. Why not? Because end of the day, we are all. I mean, we don't know. I mean, everyone has their personal traits, and every individual, has something that keeps them going. If that's what keeps Virat the batsman going, why not?
Right. And of course, when I said a nice Virat Kohli, otherwise he's from all accounts an absolutely thorough gentleman. Very, very nice way off the field. But yes, that aggressive streak on the field is always very important, like Deep Das Gupta said. And everybody has their own way of expressing, right? Someone like KL Rahul, calm. Virat Kohli lets it out really aggressively. A lot of questions deep on Rohit's fitness, but we've already addressed that. We want to take that as well. A lot of concerns around Rohit's fitness, but he's going to be fit and ready to go.
Yeah, I mean, I think Bore has already mentioned in 5 at 5 that he's fit and is good to go. That's good news. That's good news that Rohit is fit. Because yeah, I mean, uh, we would want Rohit also to kind of get 100. We haven't, I mean, in in white ball cricket, haven't seen him get 100 in a while. Let's just get one in the series from him also.
Absolutely. Hundreds from Rohit Sharma, Virat Kohli. That would be the icing on the cake if India do manage to wrap that up 2-0. Lots of stories obviously will come after that. Lots of stats, lots of records to be equal, broken, but it's going to be one of those games again. So, Deep, before we go, you reckon India can wrap this up? Because I sort of, there's this feeling, we were discussing this game
Yeah.
within the group tonight, and it's just that body language from the Indian team. You look at the body language from England, of course, they're the world champions. You can't really write them off in any
Yeah.
format. But having seen these guys up close for the last so many months,
Hmm.
there's this momentum with this team, right? You cannot deny the momentum is by far with the Indian team now.
Yeah, that's definitely there. But again, that's you also mentioned about the fact that there's a reason why it's the number one team in the world, why it's the defending world champions. So there is a reason behind it, and yeah, I mean, and they would want to prove that as well. And obviously, missing on Morgan is a big jolt to them. So yeah, I mean, but like I said, it's going to be tough because a lot of them have been been on the tour for a while. They've been to Sri Lanka, then here. Yeah, and when you're that close to kind of finishing a tour and going back, there is always this danger of mentally already leaving that place. You're not. I mean, it can happen subconsciously because this has been a long tour, right? With another 4 days to go, rather 3 days to go. Uh, there is. I mean, it becomes that much more difficult when you really, really been away from home for that long.
Absolutely. And with on that note, in fact, we'll just let's hope for another cracker of a game, and we'll let Deep Das Gupta go now because he's got to head over to the ground and it's been a long couple of months for Deep already, and then the next remaining two ODIs, and of course, then there's the IPL starting another 2 month tournament. Lots of cricket. Thank you, Deep Das Gupta, as usual, for your clear views and answers and taking every question. We'll be back on Sports Today with a lot more after the game, but before the game, I'll be back on mornings with Sports Today at 10 o'clock, and of course, Warrior Mojumdar with his mid innings analysis and breaking news in the evening. So, thank you so much for joining us. Do download the House app, challenge your legends by making your teams, and of course, subscribe to Sports Today. Have a very good evening. Thank you for joining us.